Hey guys, and welcome to another devlog video for the procedural city generator. Before we go ahead and take a look at the new changes I've made in the past 2 days, I wanted to make a quick announcement. Yesterday, I put out a quick announcement on the Discord server asking you guys, the community, for anyone that would be willing to help with asset creation. And I wanted to mention it in this video because I know a lot of you guys are not on the Discord. So I'm sure you guys have seen on the videos, the purpose of this asset is to create a full city quickly in your editor. And because of the different zones, commercial, industrial, rural, and residential, I need a lot of assets, buildings, city props, interior assets, street meshes, etc., to be able to build the city and have it come as a default when you actually use the tool. So I am looking for community members that know how to model and are willing to help out by creating assets that could be included in the project when it eventually releases. I already have a few people that have volunteered that reached out, so thank you so much for you guys. If there's anybody else out there that knows how to 3D model, has the time, and would be willing to contribute, I would be extremely grateful. I would like to get this to you guys out there as soon as possible. And I'm not an artist, so 3D modeling does take me a lot of time. So if I can get some help on that, then I can focus on adding new features and pretty much everybody benefits at the end. So just wanted to mention that. If you are willing to help, please reach out. I will put a link in the description to the Discord. You can DM me via Discord or you could email me and I'll put that in the description below as well. All right. So what is new? Actually, a lot of things have been updated since the last video and it's only been 2 days, but I've been super excited to work on this. So let's get started. The biggest feature has been what I call city management. And you can see here that now there's a new field. There was something else there before called current city with a little drop down here. And you've seen this field before, but before this change, the procedural city generator was really focused on generating the same amount of things throughout all of the different cities. So you would be generating your streets and it would just generate streets, right? But now I've shifted the workflow to work on a city by city basis, which makes a lot more sense because when you're creating your cities, you may want to create one city first, and then later on in development, you may want to create another city, or then you may want to go back and change things in that city. So now this makes it possible. So let's just go ahead and create a few cities here so you guys can see the workflow. I'm going to go ahead and start. This is a blank project, as you can see, and I'm going to first spawn a road manager and a city generator. That's the basic blueprints that you need, and you'll see that it automatically categorizes them here under the main folder. Then I'm going to create a city. Let's see. And if you've ever played World of Warcraft, I'm going to use some names from that game. Stormwind. I'm going to go ahead and create the city. Notice that immediately we have Stormwind as the current city here. And we have a new blueprint called BP City with the city name Stormwind. So I'm going to create a density zone and a city limits for Stormwind. I'm going to get out of game mode here so you can see. This is the size of Stormwind. So I'm going to come here and rename this blueprint so it's easier for everybody to see. And I'm going to come to the city limits and I'm going to make this guy, I don't know, 2000 by 2000, a little bit bigger. Let's make it 3000 by 3000. Why not? It's a big city. And now I'm going to grab Stormwind and I'm going to move it all the way to the corner of this map here. And notice that everything moves together. I'm going to come to the zones and I'm going to spawn a commercial zone. Again, it spawns in the correct place, and I'm going to make this 1000 by 1000. And I'm going to spawn a residential zone. And I'm going to make this 2000 by 2000. So if I go out of game mode here, I'm going to hide the city limits. You can see the composition of the city. There's going to be the middle, it's going to be the skyscrapers, and all around it we're going to have residential buildings, houses pretty much. Now let's go back and create a new city, and let's call this Thunder Bluff. Hopefully I'm remembering how to spell these guys. And I'm going to come here and rename this guy. And I am going to move Thunder Bluff here. It's going to be a smaller city, so let's go and create the city limits. Let's just leave it at 1,000 by 1,000. That's it. And if we go to the zones, Thunder Bluff is just going to be residential. Why not? All right. Just going to be like that. It's actually even smaller than that. 800 by 800. And let's create a new city. Let's call it Orgrimmar. And here, let's rename it. And we're going to move this guy to the corner here. And this is going to be also bigger. So city limits, let's make this 2,000 by 2,000. And let's make it a different size. Let's make it 3,000 by 2,000. So you can see that we can have different shapes here. Oops. Where's Orgrimmar? Here. And for Orgrimmar, let's start with a commercial. And commercial is going to be 800. Oops. By 800. Then we're going to do industrial. And industrial is going to be 1,200 by 1,200. And then we're going to do the residential, and this is going to be 2,000 by 1,500 maybe. Yeah. Let's hide the city limits. Oops, not in Stormwind. Here. And let's come to Thunder Bluff and hide it here. All right, so these are the cities, and notice that I'm creating folders for each city, keeping things very organized. We have Orgrimmar, Stormwind, and Thunder Bluff. I'm going to go ahead and save, and you can see the composition of each city by zone, right? I can switch to any city, and basically all operations concerning roads and buildings and props and everything will only be done on whatever current city is selected. So if we go back to Stormwind, right, where's Stormwind? Here. This is Stormwind right here. So let's just focus a little bit more here. And we go to roads. I said, okay, let's go ahead and actually, before we do that, let's generate highways between the cities. So let's go ahead and do that. Whoops. Let's remove the highways. I forgot a simple setting here. So let's go to Road Manager, Highway Settings, and Inclusive. And now let's go back here, generate highways. All right. And now when we go back to the roads, we're going to focus only on Stormwind. So generate the main roads. And let's go into game mode here so you can see. Generate minor roads and side roads. And this is going to be Stormwind. And why don't we just complete Stormwind, right? And then let's go to buildings. Get road information only for Stormwind, and we're going to start spawning buildings. Done. And you can see here that we have some houses and some buildings here. These houses are very far apart. I was messing around with some settings, but you get the point of the video. It's not really the settings, but more to show you guys what's possible with the interface. All right, now let's switch to Thunder Bluff real quick. And let's go back to roads, and let's just generate the roads for Thunder Bluff. And let's go to buildings. Done. And Thunder Bluff is just houses. It's all residential. They don't really have anything else. Just like a little suburb. And then let's go to Orgrimmar. And again, generate the main roads, generate the minor roads, and the side roads. And one thing I have to add is batching on the roads, because if you have a major city, you'll see that the editor can lock up a little bit. So I've done this for buildings. You can see that I'm doing them in batches, but I need to do that with the roads as well. So right now we have 3 distinct cities, and you can see that we can modify them any way we want. And if I close this and I open it again, it'll actually load the city. So you can actually close your project and load it again, and you have your cities. Another cool little feature that I've added is this little eye icon that stands for information. And if you click on it, we have Orgrimmar. We can see that we have some stats for the city. Not sure how useful that is, but in my opinion, it's kind of cool. So Orgrimmar has 10 main rows, 46 minor, 119 side rows, and 656 buildings. I haven't done props or foliage yet. This is going to be pretty much trivial. I just wanted to get all the new stuff done until buildings, and then I'll add this later. But the point is, you can have some quick stats. So if I switch to Stormwind, Stormwind is the slightly bigger city, has 1,042 buildings, 140 side roads, etc. So you get the point. And if we go to Thunderbluff, only 146 buildings. So you can get some quick stats. You can also delete cities. So let's say that I wanted to delete Orgrimmar. I could come here and select Orgrimmar. And I can hit delete. And notice that I changed the button to confirmation, and I say this cannot be reversed. So if I hover out, then it'll kind of reset. So I have to consciously click it twice. And then everything from Orgrimmar is gone. Except the folder, which I haven't been able to figure out how to do that. So I have to kind of manually do that. And now we're back to Stormwind. So if I want to delete Thunderbluff, gone. And now I want to come to the buildings for Stormwind, and I want to remove the buildings, and I want to come to the roads, and I want to remove highways and remove all roads, and we're back to basically a vanilla Stormwind. And if I come here, I'm going to delete, come to Stormwind, I'm going to go back to game mode. Whoops, I have forgotten something. I need to delete all of these interior blueprints. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. There we go. That's something that I need to add. But if I go back to Stormwind, just for fun, I'm going to go back and put it to the middle. And if we go to the city limits, let's make this bigger. I don't know. 7,000 by 7,000. And let's go to the zones, and let's just remove this, and let's just leave just commercial. Let's see, by 5,000 by 5,000. And now we're just basically making a mega city just for fun. We're going to come back to the roads, and we're going to generate the main roads. Generate the minor roads, and again you can see the editor's frozen here. It's trying to generate. It's going to be a little bit slower, which is why I want to do the batching. And side roads to connect all those minor roads. And again, I'm going to give it a second here, because it is going through all of the minor roads and trying to connect them randomly to finish the network. So with a really big city like this, you definitely want batching. So that's going to be on my to-do list. You see here now that we have all of the connecting side roads. And now let's go ahead and create some buildings. So I'm going to go to one of these main roads here just for fun. And let's go ahead and start spawning buildings. And you can see the batches there. Out of 1,275 potential buildings, we're going in batches of 100. So we keep doing this until we see the done and done. And now we have our massive city, which is very, very taxing to my frame rate. However, if you zoom in here and you hit play, this is without converting them into instant static meshes. Notice that the frame rate is actually not too bad when you're actually occluding. I'm getting about 50 to 60, 100 this way, depending on the way you look. And this is because in 422, Unreal actually does auto instancing itself, which is really, really cool. But I still think we probably want to convert them to hierarchical instant static meshes. And I do that. And notice that now if I zoom up, notice that the buildings are now occluding. That's because I have the settings to be something like 250,000 units. So now if I have my massive city and I click play, let's see if we can see a bigger frame rate improvement here. Notice that now, depending on where I'm looking, I'm getting between 90, oops, I'm in a balcony here, to about 100 frames per second. And if I really wanted, 120 if I look this way. So if I really wanted to improve performance, I can reduce that distance. And that would give me even more of a frame rate. All right, and just for fun, just because I was testing this last night, why not? Let's go ahead and go to the world settings and change this to a flying pawn. Hit play here. Just testing different modes here, and you can see that now we have our little ship, and we're just gonna fly through the city. There you go. Oh, yeah, I'm not a good pilot, but you get the point. Getting about 100 and some frames per second here. So I'm going around the massive city. You can see in the distance there how it's not really generating but displaying the hierarchical instant static meshes as I'm flying around. Whoops. So yeah, that's all I have, guys. Again, if you're interested in contributing to the project and you can you're good at modeling assets and you have the time, please do contact me. These buildings that you see here are quick and dirty buildings that I've made in Blender. All of the assets are obviously placeholders, and I like to have something a little bit nicer to come with the project. And unfortunately, a lot of the props that I'm getting from Epic Games are very, very different styles, so they don't really go together. So anyway, that's all for this video, guys. Thank you so much for your support. I'm gonna be now switching back to ABK. I do need to finish that update. So we're gonna put this project to sleep for a little bit until I am out, with the 1.3 update, and then I can probably come back. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Hopefully you like where this is going. I'm really excited about the city management aspect of it. I think it's way, way, way more intuitive. The workflow works a lot better. Like I said, you can load your project and come back and continue working on your cities. You're not bound to generating all your cities in one go. You can even name them now. You can see the stats. And once I add the props and the foliage, then you'll have basically the same thing as we had before, but in a much nicer unified interface. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay. Can barely get anything done here. All right. Thanks, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I will talk to you in the next video.